The towering structures that have defined Kenya's food security, or perhaps lack of it, for decades. Standing tall amidst a scandal that threatens to bring down key figures at the National Cereals and Produce Board. Inside the walls, tons of maize supply from the 2017-2018 season that is now the subject of a corruption case, questioning how the board went ahead to procure maize beyond budget by 5.6 billion shillings. The month was October 2017. The country had been facing a maize shortage, forcing the government to open a duty-free window for maize importation. That window was extended twice, from July to September and later to October 15, 2017. The argument then was that though a bumper harvest was expected, it would come too late. Through it all, 10.5 million bags of maize was brought into the country, denying the taxman a duty opportunity of over 16 billion shillings. By the end of October 2017, the market was flooded with imported maize in a bumper harvest. And then the government declared a premium price of 3,200 shillings per 90 kilogram bag, the beginning of tragedy.
What changed? It is the price of maize. When it went to 3,200, everybody wanted to supply to NCPB. But before, we were not able. We were told to get 2 million bags, but we were not able. We were getting 900,000.
The NCPB framework requires that maize is bought from registered farmers who have been vetted. As such, every ward in maize-growing counties has a vetting committee. The committee comprises the area chief, ward administrator, ward agricultural officer, a constituency nominee, a female representative, and a religious leader. The committee is tasked with clearing farmers in the respective ward based on their actual acreage under maize and the expected produce from the farm.
The farmer must be a resident of that ward, or the farm must be in that ward. And of course, secondly, 2, the acreage. 3, the types of crops that he has planted in his farm. Yeah. And of course, the acreage under maize. The vetting team will indicate in that vetting form, which will be presented to the depot manager NCPB, it will indicate the quantity of bags that the farmer is going to produce and to sell to NCPB.
Sasa pale wata confirm to this is the farmer na karatasi yake ambayo alileta ya expectation ya produce yake ndio hii. So as you deliver, they deduct. You deliver, they deduct.
According to NCPB, no single farmer in their records has the capacity to farm more than 1,000 acres of land. In the North Rift region, each acre of land can produce between 20 and 30 bags of maize in a season, meaning that the maximum expected quantity of maize from a single farmer would have been nothing more than 30,000 bags. But somehow, many of the traders who supplied maize to NCPB in this period surpassed this limit by far. Some of them families. For instance, Celestine Chepchirchir, according to a document presented to Parliament by Agriculture CS Mwangi Kiunjuri in May 2018, supplied 226,000 bags of 50 kilogram each, equivalent to over 125,000 90 kilogram bags, valued at 397.2 million shillings. To farm such quantity would require 4,187 acres of land, if each is to produce the expected maximum of 30 bags per acre. Caroline Chepchumba, believed to be Celestine's sister, supplied to NCPB 121,000 50 kilogram bags or 67,000 90 kilogram bags. That would require 2,252 acres of land and a productive season. Rodney Kimutai, a brother, was also paid by NCPB 2.2 million shillings as part payment for produce under his name.
There is nobody who can supply what some people supplied, definitely. But again, I don't know whether they were supplying as individual producer or they were supplying as aggregators.
So what happened?
So pale tukifika NCPB tunapata line ndevu, tunaweza chukua up to 14 days. Even ikienda to us, tukakaa mpaka a month before could deliver your mahindi ya one truck.
Most of the cartels, they were in the line, and the farmers were also on the line. So the queuing up was long enough. A farmer can stay for 2 weeks on the line. And maybe the ones who are ahead of her or him are cartels. So when the payment comes, they follow the date of delivery. So you see the farmer will be late a bit to get their delivery, their cash.
When a farmer is vetted and he comes with documentation to show that he's vetted, it is very difficult for us as NCPB now to go back and confirm if this farmer has bought off small farmers in the villages or in the farms there. It's very difficult. We don't have the capacity to do that.
The vetting exercise should ideally be cascaded to the Ministry of Agriculture headquarters, where Kilimo House compiles details of all farmers across the country. The ministry should then forward the farmers' database to NCPB headquarters that should in turn circulate it to all NCPB depots. That should be a primary internal control measure to check against cheating by farmers. But it would appear that was never done, and if it was, then there was deliberate effort to frustrate the verification of maize suppliers' details, a game played by NCPB officials in collaboration with the traders.
Is it a possibility to supply 200,000 bags?
200,000.
People?
It is not possible. A single farmer is not possible.
How do you explain 200,000 bags supplied by one farmer?
I've also heard in the media, I've really not seen that record of 200,000. Yeah. Okay. It's difficult to explain.
I think it was the system which failed, because if the farmers were not vetted by the people who were supposed to vet, I think that is where there was a failure. Then some traders took advantage. They went round and bringing maize all over. And it was very unfortunate, because we hope it will not happen again.
President Uhuru Kenyatta believes NCPB choreographed the entire spectacle.
Walienda na wakaanza kulipa matajiri na wengine uko matraders, wakamaliza pesa kwa traders badala ya kulipia ule mkulima ambaye ametoa jasho. I promise you and I swear before God, you try that again and you'll see what is going to happen to you.
The systemic weaknesses and abuse caused suffering among hundreds of genuine farmers. Cynthia Cheptum helps run a family farm of nearly 1,000 acres. She says that in the 2017 season, they harvested nearly 40,000 bags of maize. They were only able to supply to NCPB with 10,000 bags. Unfortunately, nearly half of the delivery is yet to be paid for, given that the large-scale traders who were first on the queue got the money first.
We supplied like 10,000 bags to National and Cereal Produce Board. We supplied another almost 5,000 to Unga. We supplied another 5 to Mombasa. Another almost 5 we supplied to Dollar. Then the others we were able to supply to cartels, the small, the traders. And we remained with 3,000 bags, which we were able to manage ourselves.
Cheptum says they have since lost 4 tractors to their agrochemical supplier, who was demanding his payment for chemicals.
At the end of it all, they had to come to the farm, collect with the auctioneers, and they took the tractors to recover their debt, and like that and like that. Now we were left 4 of them, 4. Myself, Farakasonia. Yeah, big machines anyway.
Last season, Roger Skipkemboi is a manager at Pembeni Farm in Cherangani, Trans Nzoia County, that grew maize in the last season on a parcel of over 500 acres. The harvest of 15,000 bags, each of 90 kilograms. They only supplied just over 8,000 bags to NCPB and were left stranded with 7,000 bags. Kipkemboi says the farm has been paid for 3,000 bags, with NCPB holding payment for the remaining 5,000 bags. At the time of this interview, they had not been paid any extra money, even after 1.4 billion shillings was released in September. The farm having been flagged for alleged suspicious supply.
Tukiambiwa tunaambiwa we are in the list. Ukifika pale Cereal Board, wanasema wale watu wenye majina yao ilitumwa hapa kama cartels, hawapati hiyo pesa.
Early this month, the Strategic Food Reserve Board Chair Noah Wekesa announced that out of 226 names that had been flagged, 164 had been cleared by EACC for payment, while 62 remained under investigation. Individual farmers like Edwin Kibungei are stuck with old stock of 2017 that has since been attacked by weevils, while he has also been under watch and thus his dues of 1.4 million shillings remain uncleared. The burden of the current harvest is heavier. In stock, he has 215 bags of maize with no idea where to take it, given the difficulties faced at NCPB last season.
Wakisema at 1.4 ni mtu ati cartel sijui nini, hata lishangaa sana. Na tuko na madini, tuko na mtu mgonjwa, niko na mzazi mgonjwa mwenye kwa nyumba mwenye anahitaji kutibiwa.
So wanasema pesa yako utalipa lini?
Sasa usijui juu walisema hao ni watu wanachungushwa. Sijui wanachunguza mpaka lini.
They may not have been in the list of EACC, but the vetting team had a good reason to say this person has oversupplied because he has given more than the land that he has. So I think if they will not be under the EACC radar, definitely in the next allocation we shall pay them. We have no reason.
At least 20 staff members of NCPB have since been suspended and are under investigation by EACC and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Some of them, alongside suspicious maize traders, have been charged with facilitating the spending of 5.6 billion shillings above budget. Those facing prosecution include Principal Secretary for Crop Development Richard Lesiampe and former NCPB Managing Director Newton Terrell. And as the government sets out to procure 2.5 million bags of maize, the clarity of the NCPB system is still in doubt, even as its leadership hopes that the sins of 2017-2018 season shall not be repeated.
We have already a list of farmers who had been vetted recently. We shall go back to the counties and relook at them, whether they are still the same fellas and the same acreage that they have planted this time. So it will not be a lot of work really to verify that they still have the same amount of land available for that they plowed and they planted using the subsidized fertilizer.
The government will procure a 90-kilogram bag of maize at 2,300 shillings, 900 shillings shy of last year's premium price. In the second and final part of Inside NCPB, I tell you of the quality of maize in NCPB stores and why the country risks losing every purchase of maize every year to poor storage facilities. In the end, the confusion at the Agriculture Ministry and the departments under it reflect of a government that is not in touch with its own agencies, and thus the vision for a food secure and safe country remains a dream. And during the slumber, a few are taking advantage of the situation to the detriment of the Kenyan farmer and the Kenyan taxpayer. Sam Gituku, TV, Lelagin Village, Soi Constituency, Uasin Gishu County.